How long does it really take to get things done? I'm Neve from Better Workday, and today I want to talk about the difference between cycle time and time to complete, and why this is such an important concept to be aware of if you're trying to make the most out of your workday. If you have ever been working all day but haven't really closed anything off your to-do list, then you might be suffering from a gap between cycle time and time to complete. Or perhaps you have been working on a project that you thought would only take a couple of weeks and you're struggling to understand why months later it's still not finished. To help explain the difference between cycle time and time to complete, I'm going to go back to basics and we're going to talk about a washing machine. So imagine you're putting on your daily wash and you put your clothes into the washing machine and you choose a program. And perhaps the cycle time of that program is 90 minutes. So you turn the dial to pick your program and 90 minutes comes up on the screen. You now know how long the cycle or the wash is going to take. Now, let's say that in between the time that you selected the program and the time the clothes finished washing, a few things happened. So perhaps you forgot to press start on the washing machine because the doorbell rang. Or maybe while you were looking out of the way, somebody else came along and paused it. Or maybe the washing machine got blocked and it couldn't complete the cycle until you cleared it. Or 101 other things that could have happened, which means even though the cycle time was only 90 minutes, the time between when you decided to start the wash and you took your clothes out could have been 4 hours, 6 hours, maybe even more. We see this in work all the time. We plan our work and our projects based on the cycle time, how long it will take to do the work without any pauses, any breaks, no interruptions. But of course, life and work doesn't operate that way. Instead, we need to be mindful of the other things that come up and the real time to complete our work. So why is there a gap? I touched on some of the things already with the washing machine analogy. You could be distracted either by other work, perhaps technology, other things around in your environment. You could be interrupted a lot and you have to deal with those interruptions before you get back to work. Or maybe you're multitasking and trying to do little bits of everything in order to keep everything moving forward. Or perhaps you are procrastinating either on pressing start or indeed on going through all the work in order for the cycle to complete. Now, you could be procrastinating because you find the work boring or maybe overwhelming, or perhaps you're just not sure on how to proceed. Or maybe it's got nothing to do with you at all and you're waiting on valuable input from other people before you can move forward. You can see here that there are many different reasons why it takes longer than you would like for work to be done. Our ideal scenario is that everything follows the cycle time, but that doesn't happen. In fact, it very rarely happens in the real world of work. The issue with having a large gap between cycle time and the time to complete is that it can cause unnecessary stress and pressure. So there might be misaligned expectations between the person who requested the work and the person who's doing it. The person who asked for the work to be done is wondering, why is it taking this long? And the person doing the work is getting frustrated that they can't strike it off their to-do list. There might also be financial implications, or bigger problems could be caused if certain deadlines or projects are missed. It all depends on the kind of work you do. So where possible, we do want to mind the gap and reduce it where it makes sense. If you want to do this, I recommend beginning with a small, manageable task and review the difference between the cycle time and the time to complete. All you need to do is keep a log of the time that you spend actually working on the task at hand, and then compare this to the whole duration, the length of time that has passed between when you started working on it and when you finished. Once you've that done, step back and consider what got in the way. What caused you to stop and start? Where did you get dragged off to? And was that stuff worthwhile? Because you see, there's a reason you don't eliminate the gap completely. There's some stuff that is valuable and necessary. It could have been a really important problem that you had somebody else solve that caused you to have a 30-minute difference between the cycle time and the time to complete a job. When you do this on one task and you have some ideas about what types of things interrupt your cycle time, you can then decide if it makes sense to do it on a wider set of work. But even if you do it on one, I'm telling you, it provides really good information. There are some things, however, that should never be eliminated, and that are things like breaks, taking rest, and even stepping back if you're doing creative work and you've hit a wall. It's okay to have a difference between our ideal time and reality. We are humans, not machines after all. But definitely being mindful of that difference and questioning, is there anything you can do differently, will help to make sure that you're making the most out of your time at work. As always, if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. Until next time, stay well and have a better work day.